So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And the YouTuber Thunderf00t, he upset me by what he put up. And I promise I will upset you. Now, if you're new here, I'll just say who I am. Of course, I'm Earthling, yada, yada, yada. I feel like being anonymous. If you do, good for you too. I have an MBA. I have a computer science degree. I have traveled to a number of places I never thought that I would see this soon in life, if at all. I've lost a bunch of weight. I quit smoking. I had my own newspaper. I did gymnastics, karate, ballroom dancing, and that's it for me. So, Thunderf00t, the YouTuber Thunderf00t, I look at a lot of his videos, and some of his videos upset me. I thought that he was wrong about certain issues that he took on and his position and stance on them. And I promise that if you pay attention to anything that I say long enough, I will upset you. Now, what does this have to do with anything? Well, I noticed that, again, I had lost another subscriber. Now, I don't really have that many to begin with, so I can but I kind of figure out which video, I have an assumption as to which video would have annoyed someone. And it might have been the one where I said that Christians are sending babies to hell. Because I was wondering if I should have posed that as a question, or, just to downplay the whole thing of I don't want Christians to feel bad and da-da-da. But then I realized that I just want to say what I want to say. And if this thing never makes any money, or if it does make money and people get upset with things that I've posted in the past, that's life. I mean, you can be the nicest person in the world, and something that you say, somebody's going to have a problem with it. And even if what you say is something that you wholeheartedly think is right and good and it doesn't hurt anybody, there are going to be people who disagree with your position, and they might come after you anyway. So what of it? Not a big deal. Especially right now when none of that might actually happen. But anyway, I wanted to give the example of how Thunderf00t, somebody should I say that I respect him? This is what I'll say. I'll say that the videos that he puts up that don't deal with topics where I disagree with him, I find them to be immensely illuminating. They have kind of changed my life in terms of they've removed, I would hope to believe, large swaths of stupidity that I would have had about different issues. And regardless of, how offensive I might find any of his political or societal posts might be, I can't escape from the fact that when it comes to science, this guy is rock solid. And I would be biting off my nose to spite my face to be upset enough to stop listening to what he has to say with respect to science, whether it is the prospects of the Hyperloop, or whether it is an understanding as to why whales decided to continue to breathe air and not get gills, and the whole thing of how little air is actually dissolved in water. I mean, it's just the whole idea of that. I just thought, it's a TV show from a long time ago called Man from Atlantis, and there is Waterworld, where you see Kevin Costner has gills, and you think to yourself, well, yeah, that's possible. I mean, Why is that? Or you might think to yourself, why is it that whales still breathe air after all these millions and millions of years? And then he breaks down some of these videos and you realize, oh, so there's so little air in water that it makes sense for whales to do what they do. Wow, never even knew that. Or even when it comes to from getting water out of air, for example, just how little water is actually suspended in air, and the expense that it would take to do that. A friend of mine, he was writing a science fiction book, and his take on the science was that he would have these machines. They would condense water vapor from out of the air. And because of Thunderfoot's video, I could tell him, yo, that does not make any sense. It's better for them to, in your science fiction book, it's better for your machines to get, pipe in or have a train come in with disgusting water and desalinate it or whatever it is, as compared to trying to get water from air. That doesn't make any sense. And just the whole thing with the hyperloop, that is just like, I understood why the hyperloop is not going to be a real thing. It just does not make sense. And like I said, the information that I got from Thunderfoot on all these different topics is just fantastic. Just fantastic, calculating stuff step by step. Now, when it comes to his, he thinks that feminists are the worst, and he thinks that minorities, for example, like Black Lives Matter, he thinks that doesn't make any sense, that people don't actually have any privilege or something like that. And I think, I would have left a comment for him and a link on one of his posts about stuff like this, which was essentially that it seems like he doesn't know personally that many women or that many minorities, or he just as friends or anything. And I would have sent a link to him about the fact that there's this idea that Asian people earn so much more money than white people, and it's a statistical mistake. When you really look at the data, they don't, and they have to have much higher degrees than very same white people in order to earn that money. So it's not what is presented to us in terms of for example, everybody has heard the story about how Asians make more money than white people in the US, for example. But the story, or the article that I read, that was saying that Asians live in very expensive, high cost of living areas, so that all of that extra money that they're making, it has to go out in terms of these high cost of living areas. And when you cater that fact into the assessment, it isn't that they're making much more money at all, because they have to pay for these other things. If they were, it's the take-home pay at the end of the day. And it was his standard fare. Thunderfoot has that was his standard fare at the time. Stuff that he would do, it would be stuff that would science stuff. It would be stuff that would make fun of feminists like Anna Sarkozy, I think is one lady's name. That was a particular target that he had. And there was certain minority ideas about this or that or the other. He'd make fun of that. And just even in general, just the science, if he's talking about the hyperloop, he has a tendency to make fun of people. So even when I was I sent the link to my friend who wrote the book, that I was telling him that, trying to condense water from the air doesn't make any sense. He didn't like how the guy was talking. He didn't like how Thunderfoot takes on a topic, meaning that he's kind of belittling, he's kind of mocking, he's kind of deriding some of the people, some of the reporters who might report on the story, etc. But I mean, honestly, let's be real. Some of these stories, especially like a science-based story where somebody is using a dehumidifier to condense water out of the air, these reporters would speak to other scientists, and the other scientists, or at least other professors, would make it seem as if it was a big deal. And we're talking about places that are like at Harvard, places like Princeton, places like wherever, that the professors that the reporters would talk to would not break it down in the way that Thunderfoot would break it down. So what is a reporter to think when you approach somebody who's supposed, you think, should know about this particular topic, and the information that they give you makes you think that, yeah, this is a noteworthy achievement. But it's not really that palatable. I can see that some people that follow Thunderfoot would enjoy his takedowns of various targets. For me, that's not really it. I don't really enjoy that particular aspect of it, but I do enjoy knowing more and understanding various aspects of science better. So like I said, and at the end of the day, it's the number of subscribers that one has. It doesn't really matter. It just matters how many people are actually looking at your videos. But I will say that, the first time I lost a subscriber for whichever video, because you have no idea who steps out, because most people, you can't see whether they're a subscriber or not. It does sting a little bit, because somebody's kind of rejected you. But again, when it comes down to, it just basically comes down to views. And you could have no subscribers and a bunch of views. Of course, it doesn't help with respect to monetization, because you need a certain minimum number of people in order to monetize your videos. So I don't know how that goes, but it is what it is. And even if I can never monetize any of my videos, I feel better. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of what is this guy's name? Daddy, can I have some sausage? I think it's Tom Green, was on Joe Rogan's show, and he asked Joe Rogan whether or not he was ever doubtful of, what he should do in terms of his path, in terms of who he had on his show, whether or not those people were, if it's something that people were interested. So it's like, should you just have MMA people? Should you just have people involved in science? Should you just have whoever? So that's what, Tom Green was asking Joe Rogan. And the reason why I bring up Tom Green slightly is because Joe Rogan says that he looks up to Tom Green. Tom Green is the guy who got him podcasting, because Tom Green started it, but the technology wasn't good enough at the time. Anyway, Joe Rogan's response to Tom Green was, no, I never second guessed myself about who I was going to have on my show. And either Joe Rogan does not remember, or it has to be that you can't really keep on top of every last thing that you've ever said, because I distinctly remember Joe Rogan saying that he used to question who he should have on his show. And here it is that Tom Green is asking him, and it's like, no, never. And I'm like, okay, so you're not even like 100% certain about your own self, but you hold other people up to the standard of not being joke thieves, and never ever having a joke that they thought that they came up with that somebody else came up with before. Maybe they heard in passing, maybe whatever. So you're not going to extend them any kind of allowance. But I distinctly remember you contradicting yourself with respect to exactly that kind of thing. It's just crazy. Anyway, feel free to unlike, feel free to unsubscribe, feel free to not comment on any of the things that you would not want someone to do if they were giving you feedback to something that you did. Have a good one. Peace.